Hello everyone, myself Mounika. I'm from the Department of Data Science. I'm working as assistant professor in Mlritm. So today I'm going to discuss about machine learning, that is concept learning topic. And these are the list of topics. First, what is concept learning, importance of concept learning, how a concept learning works, and how training of a conceptual learning model will work, and how a concept learning will make the predictions, and what are the real-time applications of concept learning. So these are the topics we're going to discuss in this session. So first one, conceptual learning. So a conceptual learning is a machine learning which is refers to the process of teaching a machine to identify the and recognize the patterns from the specific examples or the data points. So in simple terms, the concept learning involves in general rule from a set of observed instances. Let's take an example. When we are showing any kind of image, we will give some kinds of instruction to recognize that particular image. So we'll give some set of cats to recognize, we'll give some set of instruction to identify the cat as an image. So when we give any kind of cat to the machine learning model, so that it will recognize as a cat. So like we have two different kinds of conceptual learning task in machine learning. So the first one will be supervised conceptual learning and the second one will be unsupervised conceptual learning. So first we'll start with the supervised conceptual learning. So in supervised conceptual learning, the machine learning will given with the labeled data, meaning like each data point will have a known output or the target label. So the goal for the machine learning is to concept by identifying the patterns between the inputs and the label outputs. So let's see the example. So consider a data set of images where each image is labeled as either a cat or a dog. By analyzing the labeled examples, the machine will understand or classify the future images, either a cat or a dog, based on what it has learned from the training data. So in the training, we'll give how a cat looks, how a dog looks. So when it's time for the prediction, the model will recognize based on the previous data. It will recognize the things like it is a cat or a dog. And the second topic would be unsupervised concept learning. So in unsupervised conceptual learning, the machine is given with the data will be given without the labels. So in supervised learning, we do have a labeled data set. When it comes for the unsupervised learning, so we don't use labels of information. And the machine learning task is to identify the patterns or the groupings within the data. So it will so we don't have any labels of information, so that the machine learning will identify the patterns based on its data sets. And this is a type of learning is more about discovering the hidden structures in the data rather than learning the specific task. Let's see the example. So an e-commerce company might use unsupervised learning to group customers based on their purchasing history. The algorithm can identify the clusters of computers who buy similar products even though there are no predefined labels of others group. So consider an example of like using any kind of OTT or any shopping application. Let's say an example of Amazon application. When we are buying, like when we are looking for any item, once we search for the particular item, like when we open Amazon application after some time or after some 2 to 3 days, then only the similar content will get shown on our homepage. This is how the personalized content will get displayed over the homepage with the help of unsupervised conceptual learning. And what is the importance of concept learning in machine learning, we'll see. So the concept learning plays a critical role in many machine learning applications, and it enables machines to generalize knowledge from the data and allowing them to make predictions and decisions with the real-time task. So here we have some real-time examples. So first one will be image classification. So the concept learning helps machines to recognize the objects from the image. So when we show any kind of image to the machine learning model, it will recognize the object from the previous history of data or data sets. For example, after learning the concept of a cat from many labeled images, the model can identify whether a new image contains a cat, even it has never seen that specific image before. So when we show any new breed to the cat which was not trained to the data to the model, but still it will recognize based on the previous history. And next, coming to second example, will NLP. So NLP stand for Natural Language Processing. So in the NLP task, the concept learning helps machines to understand the process of human language. And next, the task like sentiment analysis are detecting emotions in text, and topic modeling, and which is containing similar text documents, and rely on heavily on the machine's ability to learn the concept from the large amounts of data. And next, recommendation system. So recommendation systems like those used by Netflix or Amazon depend on the concept learning to personalize the suggestions. The system learn from the user's past behavior and preferences to recommend new movies, products, or content that align with those patterns. So recommendation system is nothing but like whenever we are open any kind of OTT, let's say we have watched one horror film once, then when we again open any Netflix after some time, then it will show the recommendations like you have watched this film, so that it will suggest the same kind of similar movies to us. So this is how the personalized content is stored in the machine learning models, and it will show the same related content to the users. And the last one, fraud detection. So in finance, the concept learning is used to identify the unusual patterns in transactions that may indicate fraud. By learning what constitute normal behavior, and the models can detect suspicious activities that deviate from the learned concept. Let's say we are not doing any kind of transactions from past 6 months. Let's say if suddenly we did a transaction of more than 1 lakh, then the system will suspect that it might be a unusual transaction done by the user, so that it will show up a message or a mail like this, we have observed one suspicious or a fraud transaction from your account, is this you or not, so that it will verify of any kind of fraud transaction is appeared on our account. And next topic would be how a concept learning will work. So the concept learning follows a systematic process where a machine learns to generalize from a set of data points and applies that understanding to new and unseen data. So here an overview of how the concept learning process works. So we have seen the definition of concept learning, right? So now we'll see how a concept learning will work. So whenever we trained with some data to the machine learning model, so whenever it see any new data, how machine learning model will work. So first point would be learning from the examples. So the machine starts by analyzing the examples are the data points. So in the training process, we'll give the data, we'll feed the data to the system, so that it will recognize the things from the training data. And next, these examples could be labeled for the supervised learning, and next unlabeled for the unsupervised learning. So for the supervised learning, we'll provide the labeled data, and for unsupervised learning will provide the unlabeled data sets. And from these examples, the machine tries to identify the patterns and underline the concept. So by seeing the examples from the training, it will understand, like it will recognize the things from the training period. And next, hypothesis formation. So based on the examples provided, the machine forms a hypothesis or a general rule that explain the data. So whenever a hypothesis is formed based on previous data, so it consisting of some general classification about the what to do. And next, this hypothesis represent the concept that the machine is trying to learn. For example, a hypothesis might, if an image has fur and whiskers, it is a cat. So we'll give the basic instructions for one particular animal, so that whenever it sees the same instruction, then it will show the same related object as a prediction. So this is how the hypothesis formation can be done with the help of conceptual learning. And third one will be hypothesis space. So in a machine learning, it will explore the different possible hypotheses to find the best one that fits the data. And this exploration happen within what's a hypothesis space, which include all the possible rules or the concept that machine could learn. and the goal is to find out the hypothesis that best matches the training example. So when we are going through the n number of training example, we'll find out the best hypothesis for the particular problem. And next, generalization. So once a hypothesis is chosen, the machine applies it to a new or unseen data. So this process of generalization allows the model to make the predictions about the data it has not encountered before based on the concept it has learned. So generalization is a concept where it will assume the things from the past data, but the data was not seen before from the training. And the next one will be refinement. So during the learning process, the machine may need to refine the hypothesis as more data is introduced. It might adjust its concept to better match with the new examples are the correct any errors in its initial learning. And this high level process helps the machine to go from specific examples to a general understanding of a concept that is can apply to a new data. And how a training process can be done in conceptual learning model. So the training a concept learning model involves several steps, like from gathering the right data to evaluating the model performance. So training of a model can be done in different steps, like we'll start with the collecting the data, we'll cleaning the data, and we'll train the data to the model, and we'll do some model input will be given to the system, then we'll get the predictions from the data, and we'll evaluate the model performance. So let's see the steps. The first one will be data collection. So the basic part, the first what we need to get trained to a conceptual learning model is collecting the data. So the first step is gathering relevant and high quality data, and the data needs to contain enough examples of the concept that machine learning needs to know. Learn. For example, if the goal is to teach the machine to identify the dogs, the data should include the variety of labels of data about the dog images. So whenever we are training any kind of dog information to the models, we need to provide different kinds of images to the system. And the second one will be data pre-processing. So in the pre-processing is a step where we make the data perfect, or we make the quality data and the quantity data to train the model. So before the data can be used for training, it needs to be cleaned and prepared first. So the cleaning and the preparation pre-processing can be done by these steps. First one, cleaning the data. So here we'll remove any kind of noisy data is there in the system, or any kind of irrelevant information is there. We'll remove those information. And transferring the data. So the converting the raw data into a format that model can understand. So the raw data will be get connected in the data collection step. Then we'll make a format so that the model will recognize the data from that particular data. And next, feature engineering. So identifying the important features or the characteristics of the data that will help the machine to learn the concept effectively. Next, model selection. So next, the appropriate learning model or the algorithm will be chosen after data collection and the data pre-processing. So different algorithms are suited for different types of data or tasks. So some common models used in conceptual learning will be, the first one will be decision trees and the neural network. So decision trees where we use, like, these models will split the data on certain conditions to make the predictions. And coming to neural networks, these are more complex models which are inspired how the human brain works and capable of learning these models. And next, model training. So after data collection, pre-processing and the model selection, let's come for the training session. So this training, once the data is ready for the model is selected, the actual training process begins. And the model is trained by feeding the data and allowing it to just adjust its internal parameters to learn the concept. And the model continuously tries to find out the patterns in the given data that matches the target concept. And next, here we have model evaluation. So once training is done, we'll evaluate the model performance. So after the training is complete, the model needs to be evaluated to see how well it has learned the concept. So it typically done using the metrics by accuracy and the precision and recall. So accuracy is like how many predictions the model got right. So we'll do some test over the model, how correct it is predicting the information. And next, precision and recall. These metrics measure how well the model identify the true positive sign, minimize the false positives or the false negatives. So how the model is evaluating the false examples and the correct examples will find out. Once trained and evaluated, the model is ready to make the predictions on new data or the unseen data based on the concept it has learned. So this is how a conceptual learning model is getting trained. And the next will be how a concept learning model will make the predictions. So in this we have different steps. So once a concept learning model has been trained, it can use what has been learned to make the predictions on a new data or a unseen data. Here some explanation has been given for the working procedure. First one will be input new data. So the data is provided with the new data that has not seen before. For example, if the model was trained to recognize the cats and dogs, this new data might be an image, either a cat or dog. And the second, applying the learning concept. So here the model uses the concept it learned during the training to analyze the new data. It looks for the patterns and the features in the input data that matches with the concept it has already trained. And in example, the model will look for the features, like whatever the instruction we are given in the training, then it will recognize those instructions and it will decide whether the new image will be a cat or a dog. And the next step will be making a prediction. So based on the analysis, the model will make a prediction, and this prediction could be a classification of either a cat or a dog or another type of output depending on the task. So the accuracy of the prediction models on how well the model is getting trained over the concept and how closely the new data matches with the pattern it has learned during the training period. And the next will be update or adjust. So this is the optional step. So in some cases, after making the prediction, the model can be fine-tuned or adjusted with the more data to improve the accuracy over the time. So this is known as a continuous learning. So when we are given training with some particular data and new data is getting added in the training data, so at that time we need to use this step called update or adjust. So by analyzing the learning concept to a new data, the concept learning model make the intelligent decisions in real world situations, such as classifying the emails as a spam and predicting the customer preferences or the identifying the objects in an image. And next we'll see the real world applications of concept learning. So nowadays we are using machine learning in everywhere. Let's see some examples here. The first one will be healthcare. So the concept learning is used in healthcare to aid in disease diagnosis. By learning from the patient data, and machine can identify the patterns that suggest a specific illness or condition. So whenever we are using concept learning, we already gave the instructions about the symptoms for one specific disease, so that it will recognize this might be a disease for these symptoms. And this helps the doctors to make the quicker decisions or the more accurate diagnosis. So it also used in drug recovery to find the potential new treatment based on patterns in biological data. Example, if a model is trained to recognize the signs of pneumonia in chest x-rays, can help the doctor to identify the faster and in a greater accuracy. And the second real-time example will be finance. So in the finance industry, the concept learning helps to detect the fraudulent transactions. By analyzing the past financial data, the models can learn what a normal behavior looks like and flag anything unusual that might indicate fraud. So additionally, the concept learning is used to access the credit risk by identify the patterns in customer financial histories. Let's see the example. A bank might use a concept learning to predict whether a customer is likely to a default on a loan based on their spending and repayment history. And the third example will be retail. So retailers uses concept learning in recommendation system to suggest the products to the customers based on their previous purchases or a browsing behavior. So it's also used for customer segmentation, which helps to business target in different groups of customers with the personalized marketing strategies. Example, so Amazon recommendation in the engine will helps learns from the our shopping history, and it will show the same new content to us. Next, fourth example will be marketing and advertising. So in digital marketing, the concept learning helps to personalize advertising and predict what type of content or the products a user is most likely to engage with. And this ensure that the ads are more relevant and increasing the chance of customer interaction. So when we are scrolling any kind of website, we can see a number of ads. So like if we are interested to see that particular advertisement, so it will show the similar kind of advertising. Example, so Google Ads uses a concept learning to deliver the personalized ads to the user based on their search history or online behavior. So this can be shown with the help of your search history and the online behavior. And the fifth example will be manufacturing. So the concept learning helps in predictive maintenance, where machine can learn to identify the signs of equipment failure before they occur. And this can be reduce the downtime and prevents the costly repairs by allowing the timely maintenance. And example, so whenever we are manufacturing, a plant might use the concept learning to monitor the machinery and data. It will predict when a machine is likely to break down. So these are the some real time examples which are used by the concept learning. Thank you.